A large part of 2.5 decades I have spent with organizations and leaders trying to unravel how transformations go about. That is a pretty popular subject amongst various people for various reasons, right? And I have been a part of some, I have led some, I have coached some, I have handholded some. So what I'm going to share with you today are the learnings which I had from all the variety of experiences about why do we transform, what is actually transformation, and how can we succeed at it. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning, the fundamentals. What is transformation process? What comes to mind? If I look at my childhood, the first thing I saw were comic books, wherein I saw a He-Man or a Superman or a Spider-Man. You know, they would suddenly put on their cape, the Spider-Man will put on his mask and his dress, he will go about saving the world, bashing up the bad boys or the criminals and saving the world. So is that transformation from Clark Kent to Superman? Is that a transformation? Or Peter to Spider-Man? Is that a transformation? Because what's happening there is they have the same kind of powers. So even wearing a white shirt and taking a reporter's job, Clark Kent has the same Superman powers. Only thing is he just dresses up for the occasion. When the time comes to save the world, he puts on a blue spandex suit, a red underwear, and he's ready to save the world. Yeah? So is that transformation? Or going ahead, as you grow up furthermore, you start seeing movies like Transformers. So there is a purpose vehicle, which is a car. And when the enemies come who want to destroy the earth or take over the earth, that car converts into a deadly fighting machine in form of a robot. Is that a transformation? Where extra features come to you, extra skills come to you. If extra skills and power comes to you, would that be a transformation? Or something else. So when I grew up furthermore, something else happened. And this really happened. First, my refrigerator transformed. Yeah. So the story goes, as a bachelor, I had my refrigerator, and what do bachelors have in their refrigerator? Beer cans, pizza from last night party, right? And leftover foods and all, right? That was my refrigerator. And then an event happened. That event was my wedding. And after wedding, a transformation came over my refrigerator. Now it had vegetables, milk. It was a supply of food in the house. So the purpose of the refrigerator, from cooling my beers to providing nourishing food or fresh food for the house, happened. Is that transformation? Can we say repurposing of a person, of an organization, of a system? Is that transformation? Let's think about it. Further on, when transformations happen, how do they happen? Do they happen just like that? Is it a slow burn process? Do you take months and years to develop into a Superman? Or can you have a Superman with a pot belly who says, okay, I've been wasting my time writing reports, from tomorrow I'm going to save the world. And then the man or the woman becomes better and better at the job. So how do transformations happen? Do they happen slowly? Do they happen instantaneously? What I have seen is transformations are imposed externally mostly, and those external motivations are very strong. What are those external motivations? Directives from stakeholders, directives from statutory organizations, directives coming from your father, your wife, in personal life, directives which inspire us or compel us to change the purpose of our being. And these happen instantaneously as soon as those impelling directives comes. So mostly transformations are instantaneous. You are made aware of your repurpose of life or repurpose of the organization. And the organization willingly, unwillingly accepts it. transformation has happened, like it or not. The challenge, therefore, is not what transformations, how to come to a transformation, but how to sustain one and how to have a useful life in transformations, right? Because now the transformation has happened. But we all know a Superman with a pot belly is not a very effective person to save the world against mean machines, right? So people then get better of themselves because now they have repurposed. They may have been good at something, but now with the repurpose, are they fit for the new goals? Are they fit for the new directions? That is a part which builds transformation. And if not done rightly, there's a regress. People come out of the transformations. Yeah? So, what are the pitfalls? What happens to people and organizations who are repurposed but cannot handle it for a variety of reasons and come back to their old selves, to their older purpose? What happens to them? One of the dampeners which I have seen in sustaining transformation, which is a real killer, is prioritization. For a lot of people, transformative needs are priorities. I have been given the directive of repurposing my organization or my life or my way of thinking. Therefore, let me put it on priority. We are going to be harder in sales, we are going to be more efficient, we are going to be more safer in operations, we are going to be more innovative. These are the directives. Let us transform. That is a priority. Every day we are going to talk about these things with all of us, and we are going to check the progress, and it will happen. But what goes wrong when we prioritize is, priorities change. Today it's one, tomorrow it's another. That's how dynamic the world is. And when other priorities take over, then your original transformative efforts are sidelined. And therefore, what started as a transformation just becomes a faint memory of something which was tried, not found useful enough to be done. Yeah? Another killer for transformation process is just having good and great intentions. I've seen a lot of leaders who are heart in for the transformation process. They have all the good and the great intentions about transformation. But does that help? If I have good intentions, but no other intention of doing anything about it, would my people be inspired to do anything? Does it happen in our homes? Will it happen elsewhere? Good intentions are a very broad filter. That is a starting point, and only for you. But it doesn't help the transformation process. A lot of people feel, if I have good intentions, I am a leader, and I have declared my true intentions, things will happen in the organization. Sadly, the world doesn't run that way. Because people are waiting to be inspired, people are waiting to be pushed, people are waiting to be educated, people are waiting to be helped in order for those transformations to happen. And it is for us to be those agents of those changes. Yeah? So, the two killers, beware of them. One is prioritization, and second one is only having good and great intentions. Yeah? These are the pitfalls. But what are the things which will make us succeed or sustain the transformations which have already happened? How will I grow better? How will my organizations be more fruitful and sustain the transformation which has happened to us? What are those magic ingredients, right? What do you think they are? One is having the time to sustain that transformation, having the time to get involved, having the time to review, having the time to reflect, having the time to read, having the time to improve our own selves and our organization. Having, importantly, the energy to do it. If I take my most important transformative topic at the end of the day in the night, after a hard day's work, when my energy is the lowest, I may have the time. I may have 1 hour to think about it, to review about it, to brainstorm about it, but I am at the lowest point of time in my energy. Do you think it will work out? Do you think I will be productive? Do you think I will contribute to the transformation? Perhaps not. So, having the time and having the energy invested for a transformation. In one word, it's called commitment. And commitment is often confused with intentions. Intentions is good intentions with no actions. Commitment is intention multiplied by the actions taken. And actions come in terms of the time you spend and the energy you spend on making things happen. That is part one. Second, when we make transformations, we have to find ways of converting them into working habits each day. All these actions need to convert into everyday habits, into rituals. How do we make them happen? We have to define that after my transformed self or after my transformed company, what is it which is rewarded in my company? What is it which is frowned upon in my sense? What is it that we celebrate and what is it that we shun? If we have defined these, it becomes a pretty nice direction for me and my team and the people around me to navigate to sustaining this transformation. If these are not built, the transformations can go haywire. They can again reverse. So, forming habits, because habit forming amongst a large group of people converts into a culture. And culture is an excellent vehicle to sustain and grow transformations. Yeah? So with these thoughts, I leave you that when you look at transformation, see them as something instantaneous. See them as something where the growth will happen after transformation and we grow to it, and avoid the pitfalls we have mentioned, embrace the change agents which we have talked about, and let the magic happen. Okay? So this is what I wanted to share. Thank you.